What's up everyone, Sergeant Arger right here, and today we're gonna be reacting to World War II animated Western Front, part 2. We actually reacted to part 1 a while back, not a while back, but maybe a couple of months ago, I don't remember. But yeah, this should be really interesting. I tried to make a couple videos, but both of them weren't really. I try to make them different, but both of them just end up being bad, in my opinion. So, yeah, we're just gonna do this, cause I forgot they made this video, and I'm really excited, cause Eastory is a fantastic channel. Also, oversimplified, freaking demonetized all my videos. Like, I'm not mad about it, about the money thing, because I don't make any money. Because I'm not monetized, and I'm not old enough to become monetized anyway. But, like, I don't think so. But also, like, it's just rude, man. Like, it's just rude. Like, come on, man, I have fair use. I'm changing it by reacting to it, so it's fair use. But luckily, they actually, removed all of them. They removed all of the demonetizations. I just got a bunch of emails, and I was pleasantly surprised. So yeah, thank you, Oversimplified.
Today.
Anyways, let's react to this. Also, I'm gonna turn my microphone volume all the way back up. There we go.
We are going to look at the last 6 months of World War II on the Western Front. But before that, a brief message from our sponsor.
No.
The German forces 1940 to World War II. In the second part of 1944, Germany had suffered its worst defeat yet.
Jeez, I love this map. Like, you can see how detailed it is, because you can see, like, Germany's borders before Operation Barbarossa, and then you can see their original borders. You can see all of Europe's original borders, and, like, if you look closely, you can see them. And you can also see, you know, I guess these are, like, railways and roads and infrastructure. They're tiny lines, so the amount of detail they put in this is fantastic, seriously.
The Soviet forces had advanced up to the German border. In the west, the Allies had landed in France and moved up.
That is a huge chunk of land, oh my goodness. Look, oh my god, in the same year. That's like half their land. Oh my god. What are these tiny little things on this side of France? What the heck? I guess they're just tiny enclaves.
To the German frontiers. The Red Army and the Allies were preparing to launch a final offensive into Germany in early 1945.
That's weird, because...
The Western Allies planned to carry out smaller attacks before the offensive. Their goal was to break through the German defenses of the Siegfried Line and the Rhine River. They planned to do that with attacks in the north and south. In the south, the German position was weak. The Allies first encircled Metz, and after
There's not even in Metz. Why are you encircling
that,
it?
they broke through the German lines and reached the Rhine.
That wasn't that
Germans
hard.
had to retreat.
How? Isn't there like previous Maginot defenses or something that they still have? And isn't there like a gigantic mountain range right here?
In the north, they pulled back to the Siegfried Line, where they stopped the Allies. In the south, they consolidated their forces in a smaller area to tie up more of the Allied forces. At the same time, they had also launched their attack in the north. They had already broken through the Siegfried Line and planned to cover the remaining land to the Rhine. The Germans were better prepared to defend against the northern attack. The Allies launched the attack in mid-November, but the progress was slow. The Germans sent reinforcements to the sector and denied any opportunity to make a breakthrough.
Okay.
By mid-December, the Allies had achieved only limited gains. The Germans knew that in order to avoid defeat, they needed to go on an offensive. Therefore, they decided to use their last limited forces to launch an attack on the Western Front. They were unable to gather an overwhelming force and instead hoped to catch the Allies off guard.
Oh, is this the Battle of the Bulge?
Allies were attacking in the north and the south. Between them was an area which was known as the Ardennes,
Yep, the same place they attacked last time.
which was held weakly by the Allies. The Germans planned to pass through the Ardennes before the
Like, that's just hilarious how the Allies make the exact same mistake again.
Allies could bring up reinforcements and then move to the sea and cut off a large part of Allied troops. The German attack was divided into the supporting offensive
Like, on paper, it looks like
in the
it
south
easily
and
destroyed them. Look, there's like no Allied troops.
the main offensive in the north. In the main sector, only the southernmost attack could break through. The Allies then brought up their first reinforcements and halted the German
Dang, that was fast.
breakthrough. The German northern attack had failed. In the south, the Germans broke through the Allied lines on a wide front. The Allies rushed in an airborne division to hold the important road junction of Bastogne. The Germans bypassed it and continued their advance. However, their advance had been too slow and the Allies began to arrive in force to the sector. The Germans consolidated their forces in the northern direction to continue the advance, but by that time, the Allies launched an attack from the south.
Oh yeah, these people right here in Bastogne or whatever, Bastogne. These people, I think so. That these are like these guys who literally just would not surrender at all, despite being surrounded. And that ended up crippling the Germans and helping the Allies a lot.
And re-established connection with Bastogne.
There's also a lot of other issues with fuel and stuff like that.
In order to divert the Allies away from the Ardennes, the Germans launched an attack in the south. The Allies were now faced with the dangers of the Germans resuming the Ardennes offensive and with their southern attack. The offensive in the Ardennes was more dangerous for the Allies and they concentrated their efforts there. They launched a two-pronged attack against the German salient. The German units were threatened with encirclement and were forced to pull their forces back to a more secure location. With the Allied position in the Ardennes more secure, they could now send troops against the southern attack. At the same time,
So nothing happened that whole time?
the Allies had been giving ground to the Germans, but the arrival of Allied reinforcements from the Ardennes helped to halt their advance. With the immediate danger taken care of, the Allies decided to secure their position in this sector by destroying the German pocket around Colmar so that the Germans could not use it for launching future attacks. The Germans did not have the strength to hold the pocket and they were pushed over the Rhine.
Yeah, I wonder what would have happened if, like, the Ardennes offensive was a success. Like, even if they did somehow beat the Allies out of France, which is extremely unlikely, the Soviets would end up defeating them, and then communism would be everywhere in Europe.
By that time, the Red Army had finished preparations and launched.
Oh, no, not this. Ugh. The Red Army is about to completely just annihilate Germany. Because they used all their troops in there, and they believed that they were stronger than the Soviets and all that. And they completely underestimated them. Oh my god, this is gonna be awful.
Its main offensive in the east. The Red Army quickly advanced,
Look how much land they take!
encountering limited resistance. Soon their forces were coming near Berlin. With this new danger, the Eastern Front became the main priority for the Germans.
Why was it not the main priority earlier? Literally. You have... Well, actually, there's a lot of industrial and oil stuff here, so I guess that's why. But they have, like, this gigantic river, and then they have the Siegfried Line. Then they have a mountain range right here. Like, come on, they're good for defense over there. Meanwhile, here, there's a bunch of Polish partisans and other Eastern Europe partisans. And there's, like, no natural defenses except for a few rivers here and there. Yeah.
And they moved away some of their troops from the Western Front. The Germans now switched to full-on defensive in the west, and their forces retreated to the Siegfried Line.
The good news is, the Battle of the Bulge actually stalled the Allied advance for like 3 weeks or so. So, it did end up helping in the end.
By that time, the Allies had built up their supplies and forces to launch a massive attack on the Western Front. They would capture the western bank of the Rhine first from the north and then from the south. After that, they would cross the Rhine in 2 locations and then capture the Ruhr, which housed large parts of German war industry. The Germans were strongly outnumbered, but they...
Whoa! What? They're outnumbered 4-1. And not just by the Allies. Imagine how it is with the Soviets. Whoa! That is not good. That is not... Also, I'm surprised this little town hasn't been taken yet. Right here, where my mouse is. Because they've been in France for so long already. But literally, this little town is very, very, very important to the Germans, and nobody really realizes it, because instead of the Allies just shipping supplies here, wait, what is that? Dunkirk, yeah, Dunkirk, instead of just shipping it there, they have to ship it all the way around here, and then go by land to this area, which means it greatly lengthened their supply lines and all of that. So this little city, Dunkirk, was very good for the Germans to hold.
They were ordered to avoid retreat and hold their positions. The Allies started their northern attack in early February. In the south, the Germans made use of rough terrain and were able to contain the Allied advance.
Oops. The heck? It's not.
In the center, the Germans had opened the dams on the Loire River, creating a temporary flood which prevented the Allies from crossing it. With the central part of the front quiet, they were able to gather enough forces to contain the Allied advance in the north.
Okay.
But then the water levels in the Loire dropped and the Allies crossed the river. The Germans were unable to hold them off and were pushed back, suffering large casualties. They retreated.
Yeah, at this point, okay. After they pushed past this, the Rhine River, the Germans in the west just completely collapse. Like, there's just no resistance. They just get encircled in humongous numbers. It gets so bad that the Germans want to surrender. Like, the Germans from the Eastern Front will literally run all the way to the Western Front just so they can surrender, so they get off on better terms than if they were captured by Soviets. Like, oh my, this place is just it's a complete cluster F word.
Retreated over the Rhine, destroying the bridges behind them. The Allies then turned south, the German lines collapsed, and they lost half of their strength as prisoners.
Half? Did you say half? What? Half?
Chaos, the Allies were able to capture an intact bridge over the Rhine at Remagen. They established a bridgehead over the river. The Allies moved in to capture the last German-controlled area west of Rhine. The Germans were somewhat able to contain the Allied attack from the south, but in the north, the Allies advanced through the German lines with little opposition. The Germans began a belated retreat, but a lot of their soldiers were
That's a lot!
taken prisoner. In the confusion, the Allies were able to cross the Rhine in several places. By that time, the Allies had finished their preparations for the northern Rhine crossing. The Germans were unable to resist it, and the Allies established themselves on the east shore. The German decision not to allow retreat over the Rhine had proven to be disastrous. They had lost 300,000 men as prisoners alone and were now...
300,000? They only had 1 million! What? What? 300,000? Just by prison...
unable to defend the Rhine River defenses. The Allies now set out to neutralize the German war industry in the Ruhr. The Allies moved east, which made the Germans overextend their...
They just like it's like they're nothing. It's like they're just a piece of paper.
defenses. The Allies then turned north and outflanked them. At the same time, they broke out of the northern bridgehead, and soon both of the Allied forces linked up and encircled the Germans in the Ruhr. Most of the German forces in the area had been caught in the pocket, and the way into Germany was open. The Allies advanced east.
Oh my god.
Large areas of Germany fell to the Allies with little opposition. The Germans
Yeah, this is what I was saying. Just look, this is awful. Just look at this.
still had significant forces around Berlin. Part of them were sent to block the Allied advance, but they were too few and were encircled and destroyed. the Allies established a defensive
That's a lot of POWs.
line along the Elbe River. Then the Germans had to concentrate on repelling the Raid Army's attack on Berlin. By that time, the German resistance on the
Jeez, that is a lot of land the Allies took.
Western Front was collapsing, but they still had strong forces on other fronts, and there was the danger that the Germans could pull their forces into the Alps and make a final stand. The Allies turned south in order to reach the Alps before the Germans could set up strong defensive positions there. However, in reality, the Germans had no intentions in making a final stand in the mountains, and after the fall of Berlin had removed Hitler from power, their new government surrendered unconditionally in early May.
Well,
Now, with the war over, I would like to mention the officers and enlisted men of the E Company for staying with me through the campaign all the way from landing beaches of Normandy to the foothills of the Alps. Thank you for your support. If you'd like to participate on a much longer journey, check out the videos on the Eastern Front on the right, or click for an...
oh wow. Well, it's kind of ironic since it's a channel about Eastern European history, but it's about the Western Front. But anyways, what did I do? Anyways, thank you all for watching, everyone. Put your comments below and what I should react to next. Should I react to more of these Eastory videos? Wait, what's this? Eastory caught? Oh, it's just Russian, I guess. But anyways, thank you all for watching, everyone, and goodbye. Hello, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it and subscribe to my channel. And, you know, turn on the notification bell thingy. And if you didn't, then make sure to leave a thumbs down. But yeah, that would be greatly appreciated. And while you're at it, go ahead and watch my other videos. They're probably just as good, and if not better than this one right now. Except for my oldest videos, don't watch those. And, you know, subscribe to these people down here, my fellow sergeants. They're other YouTubers that I either know or I have in high regards. Yeah, even my cat agrees. So, thank you for watching, and have a great day.